Thank you again for playing us in. Huey Lewis and the News here as our band for the band draft. We're glad to have them. Don Tomasulo, Dick Bowerly, Jeremy White, Mike Schopp, and the Bulldog. We tell everybody here that we have Huey Lewis and the News. They can't see them like we can, but that's all right. And we say we've got Huey Lewis, and Donnie goes into some story about driving Huey Lewis around in a Chevette.
Chevette back in 1980, took him to ZIR, which is now our sister station KISS back then. He's a great guy. Love Huey.
And that would have been where? On Franklin, or no, where would that have been?
Well, KISS was in Grand Island at the time.
Grand Island.
30 seconds into this thing.
Wait a minute. I was on Grand Island at the time.
Come on, man. He was an awesome guy. It was like, that's where the old KISS studios
Channel
were.
29 or out by the tower? Is it out by the tower?
It was 35 years ago. It was the 80s. I can't remember.
Yeah, but
the
you know everything
location.
else about this story.
I was driving the Chevette, you know?
You don't remember where you were going. You just know that Huey Lewis was in the car.
It was on Grand Island. I could tell you where it was in 30 years ago. I couldn't tell you today.
Okay. Besides, you have your other preparations that you're focused on.
I got my computer sheet right here.
Donnie, it's great to have you. I mean, we've got Buffalo Music royalty here with Don and Dick Bowerly, Buffalo Music Hall of Famer. Who's the leader?
Unfortunately, it's going to be Bowerly because, you know, like Bulldog worked with him before. It's going to be like his brother, so it's going to be tough to keep him quiet. So I'll talk while I can.
Oh, come on, I never met a microphone I didn't like.
All right, well, we're glad to have you here, and I'm sorry you can't see Huey Lewis. And we also have Jeremy. Hello, Jeremy.
Howdy.
Welcome to the band draft.
Thanks. I'm just here so I don't get fined. That's kind of my my mindset. I just want to not be yelled at for who I take. I heard you talking about this, and I will feel pressure in spots to take something, or else people will yell at me.
See, that's where the pressure's off me because I'm sort of expecting, almost wanting to be yelled at. That is where I come in here.
It's your role. Know your role.
Yeah, know your role.
Am I supposed to select a band that I liked at a time because that's what, and I would in no way defend it ever again, but I did? You know, fourth round. Hey, you know what? I used to listen to so and so, and then everyone yells at me.
You got to do whatever you think is right. I am trying. The biggest trap I'm worried about falling into is picking one or 5 bands that probably would go undrafted if I weren't in the room. Just because I like them and I could stick up for them, but I want to try to draft a good team. You know, I want to get some best players available.
Yeah. The Who category, not the band The Who, but where you name a band and I say Who, because I wouldn't have known who it was anyway. I expect to have that experience a lot.
Mm-hmm. From being Dick, that's only if they're really new. You go old, we're good.
Really new, like since 1992.
Yeah, something like that, right? Yeah.
Well, no comment.
Good thing I was born in 91.
Yeah, you're perfect for this, Ryan.
Ryan is here too, yes.
Ryan's in. Ryan will actually have the first pick. We had a draw, and we'll give you that in a second. To some extent, we want to try to use the same criteria here. It's not just your all-time favorite band. If everybody does that, it's not as interesting. If we all sort of work to a point on the same premise, you're going for the biggest and the best. Longevity matters just like it does in sports when you have a Hall of Fame or something in sports. Longevity, accomplishments, achievements, importance.
Influence. Right? I think like influence. A lot of what I'm thinking about will be my board is heavily weighted towards influence. I think especially as we get into the later rounds where I'm not going to be giving you bands probably that sold as many records as I don't know, like say Queen, but they were important. I think they influenced many bands that came after, and therefore there's impact.
To me, that's the key. Who influenced you? Who still matters for that longevity thing? No matter where they were in selling records, how did it change your life sometimes?
Well, I can't wait to, you're going to take my first pick. I have the band, that I really want, and there's no way I get the 5th pick. There's no way it's lasting this long.
Well, let's see what happens. Ryan is first. Then it goes Ryan, Bulldog, me, Jeremy, and Don and Dick. That was the order drawn at random.org earlier today.
Was there anyone auditing this?
I was here. Okay. I mean, I don't know if that I'm going second.
He got second.
You might, but
it's interesting that
Ryan was here too.
Well, yeah, you 3 got 1, 2, 3, huh?
Yeah. Before Ryan makes the pick, just so the audience is clear, everyone has been briefed on the rules. This is a band draft. There are no solo artists eligible. Paul Simon is not eligible. Simon and Garfunkel eligible. Duos count. Okay? Rap groups count. Motown counts, like groups, the Temptations, the Spinners. You want them, you have them. Even if they're just 4 guys singing, or Three Gals like the Supremes. All eligible. But Michael Jackson, no. Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band, yes.
Sha-na-na, yes.
Right, correct.
Yes, yes.
Yes. I think it's clear. Okay, Ryan, the youngest, maybe
Yes.
by a lot, here in our group. Ryan, please open the band draft. Thank you.
All right, with the first overall pick of the band draft, I will be taking Led Zeppelin.
For
looking
those
for some
not
reaction.
familiar with Led Zeppelin, maybe we could hear a little bit of Led Zeppelin. Is that something we could, in case you don't know them? Ryan, let's hear your thinking.
For me, it was between the Beatles and Led Zeppelin, and for me, the Beatles may have had more influence over music in general, but it's a personal taste for me, and I don't get another pick until pick number 10. So I got a pick with the thought of looking ahead in the draft, and I would just be remiss
Okay.
if I didn't take Zeppelin. I got a pick for 9 picks.
Can this be defended?
Sure. To an extent, yes. I'm going to say that because, well, I'm picking next.
And you're
Look,
happy.
you can't go wrong with Zeppelin any way you turn it. I mean, I'm a drummer, the greatest drummer in the world. Fantastic band, should have lasted a lot longer. I could tell you Led Zeppelin stories too, but I won't. But a great
Why?
band.
Why wouldn't you?
You know,
You could chop this draft by a couple rounds. Tell some Zeppelin stories.
just quickly, Zeppelin was supposed to play here September 1980 or somewhere around there. It's like my birthday, September 30th. I was up all night. I did a giant full-page ad for the news, like this whole is like secrecy world. We put the ad out. I went to my office like at 4 a.m. to go to the news to check it. I go to sleep. I get a call literally 2 hours later when Bonham passed away. It was literally, we were just about to announce the Buffalo show when he passed. It was
You were
so
promoting
weird.
it.
We were promoting that show. You were, as a local guy, you're not really the promoter because they're the promoter. But you do all the work for it. I did that whole ad. I kept it forever. I still have it in my archives somewhere. So I never got to see Zeppelin live on that.
I'm out of my league in this draft with like the history, especially the Buffalo stuff, like Bulldog knows and like But isn't there a story about how they were here one time and then someone else was supposed to play a show at the Odd right after that and canceled, and then they came back?
I'm not familiar with that.
No, I think the Stones did that.
The Stones
The Stones played and then came back on the '75 tour. I think.
So was it 2 years in a row, or was it even?
It was twice on the
in
same
1
tour.
year?
It was twice on the same tour. They played, I think, in the spring, maybe in the Odd, and then something happened, and they came back and played the Stadium in the summer.
Okay, and the Stones, they're still on the board here.
They're still on the board, but they're not anymore. Because I can't with the. I've had I have a jersey ready for the Stones. I already signed them to a contract. I mean, I fully expected Ryan to take the Beatles, and I was going to be totally thrilled taking the Stones. I have to be true to myself. I maybe if as a kid I had heard the White Album or Revolver instead of the Ed Sullivan Show stuff first, I wouldn't have suffered with this notion that the Beatles were like this kind of cheesy goofball band. They're obviously not, and I've dug into all of the meaty records in their collection, and I like them a lot. I was raised on the Stones. Badass Keith Richards. The Hells Angels did not go see the Beatles. The Hells Angels went to see the Stones. Danger, sex, motorcycles, knives.
Is that the order of those four things?
The Stones, man. They are rock and roll.
Did you say drugs?
Look, I didn't mention drugs.
Did you say Altamont?
He wasn't done.
Just the fact that Keith is alive today puts him in the thing. Who would have took that bet a number of years
So
ago?
I'm taking the Stones number 2, and I'll leave the Beatles to
Well, let me
pick
think.
3.
I don't know. I still see Kansas out there, so I don't. Don Tomasulo, Dick Bowerly, Jeremy White, Mike Chopin, the Bulldog, the band draft, the NHL All-Star Game is Sunday. Led Zeppelin 1 and Rolling Stones 2. Michael Jordan was the third pick of the 1984 NBA draft, comma, the Beatles at 3. What is there to say?
What else can you say?
What else can? I mean, I'm glad I don't have to talk.
It's the shock that it's not number one, but what else can you say?
The Beatles are the band that launched my career and kept me from going to law school and doing something decent for a living. So I would have picked them too, Mike.
1. Would anybody in this room? Well, you would not have picked him at 1, Bulldog. You said.
I don't think I would have. No, I would have gone Stones because I have to be true to who I've been.
I wouldn't have picked him in the 8th round. I mean,
Have you heard the Beatles? Should we
yeah,
give
I've
them a
heard of
pitch?
them.
Familiar with their.
I've
their
heard of
reputation.
them, right? Yeah.
The 8th round.
That was the band McCartney was in before Wings.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, nothing. And I'm not saying that they're terrible, just
They don't interest you.
not at all. Not in the least. I'm very glad you took them because I don't get yelled at now for picking anything else.
You are a smart guy. You know I like you a lot, and I like your mind. Do you think part of the reason you feel that way is that you haven't sat down with them?
100%. 100%.
Don't you-
My next pick is a group that I have not. Like I'm on the board. I mean, I don't want to take away from your selection, but
please, no.
I'm doing it.
You can't.
Kind of like a draft here. But yeah, I didn't have much exposure to them, and I missed the boat. Just missed it, and
Did you come late to the Beatles too?
What are you doing tonight? Yeah.
Well, that's the
yes,
thing.
I did. That's it.
With the Stones, I'm very late to the party. I had nothing for the Rolling Stones for the longest time, and now I think they're great. I would have taken them 1 if I was picking 1.
It's just random. Like an older cousin had Get Your Yayas Out and Sticky Fingers. So like, if like I said, if he had instead Rubber Soul and Sgt. Pepper's, I probably would have felt differently about the Beatles as a kid, but he didn't, and the die was cast, and there you go.
If Ryan goes Beatles 1, Bulldog goes Rolling Stones 2, I go Zeppelin 3. Like that was my
Right.
I had it between Zeppelin and one other band that hasn't been named yet for my choice there, and that would have been early, I think, for that other band. So this is good for me.
But look at 1, 2, 3. You can't go wrong in either one of those. All of us, I would think, except for maybe Jeremy, might have had it 1, 2, 3 in our picks. I'm just standing here
Yep.
for Dick, but that's the way I would have had it.
You're saying that, does that only go 3 deep? Is there any other band in your mind? It's not your turn. Is there any other band in history in your mind that would make that a 4-way?
No, I would have had 1, 2, 3. That was it.
There's
And
a
everything
line
else
after
goes from
3.
there.
Glad I'm
Line
picking
after
4th.
3, but 1, 2, 3.
There's a line after 3. The 3 guys who were here for the order draw have picked.
For what it's worth, if I had the 3rd pick and Zeppelin hadn't been picked, I would have picked them. Like I think the top 3. I think we've nailed the top.
Okay,
3.
we're pretty much all there on that. Almost all of us. Dick Bowerly shaking his head, saying, "No, sir."
Is it my turn?
No,
Not yet.
I'm shaking my head back at you since you asked that.
he just
Huey,
wants to
you guys good? Huey Lewis in the news here to play. They're playing the draft, which is great. Ryan, your thoughts so far, please.
Well, I'm glad that you guys all agree that at least Zeppelin should have been in the top 3. So I know Twitter is going to be a little upset. I was already getting a lot of flack from Beatles fans once they heard that the Beatles were not in consideration from the leak from the Gates camp. But it's for me.
There was a leak.
For me, it was, I listened to a lot more Led Zeppelin when I was younger, and I never really got into the Beatles. I got into their hits, and that was really it. I never got into their deep stuff, so for me, it was Zeppelin all the way.
How do we feel about, before I move to Jeremy, how do we feel about A Day in the Life as the song he picked? I think that's probably the most appropriate. Well, it's not outdone by a lot by any other Beatles song. Like there are rankings. The Rolling Stone issue ranking Beatles songs put that as the number 1 Beatles song of all time.
There's so many. It's all for interpretation. You can't go wrong with A Day in the Life.
People like A Day in the Life because there's a John part and a Paul part.
And it's deep in the way it came together, and there's so many layers to that. Here, years later, Sgt. Pepper was such a big record. How can you go wrong?
Okay. Jeremy White with the 4th pick of the band draft.
Now, I do not claim to be a large fan of this band.
Do you guys think
But
where he's going here? I have no idea where he's going.
I'm drafting it anyway. And the reason I think I can actually make this work for me. A lot of my picks will be available for me in rounds 5, 4, 5, 6, 7. If we're talking, top of the line type stuff, I won't get anything like this. And it's one of the very few bands left that they announce they're coming to town. I'm gonna go because I've never seen that band. So I'm gonna take Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band because it's very popular. I'm not a huge fan. But every person alive that has seen them says, you've got to go see this thing. Right. And I'm doing that this year, so I think I can justify taking them for it. Right? Is that fair?
I'm okay.
Listen, nobody else on my list, if you guys even care about, I don't think. So I've got to go something there.
If you pick from your logic of looking for a great live band, if that was the category, Bruce is up with one of the all-time.
You don't have to play the song. I don't want to hear. I don't
10.
need to hear.
A Day in the Life,
Especially
comma,
this-
Dancing
Right,
in the
you
Dark.
don't need to play this.
Not this song. This is the worst possible.
Yeah.
This is the one song that I think, I don't know, I've only seen him 4 times.
See,
it
like-
feels to me like he might think he's got to play this song, and every time he does, I just go, dude, come on.
Yeah.
I hate this song.
See, I can't imagine seeing anyone 4 times. The fact that you've seen him 4 times and everybody says, and I hate about the cliches about liking, but I feel like I have to.
Dude, it's going to be church.
That's what I mean. Like everyone
It is
seems to say,
church.
It's amazing.
You got to have
needs
some.
that.
You got to have some stamina though, because he plays too long. I mean, I left the odd when I was promoting Springsteen. I left. I went to Garcia's, which is now the Pearl Street. They had a couple of pops or whatever. Came back. He was still playing. It was like a rally of like people still going crazy. That was going on and on. I'm like, it's too long.
Well, he meets the criteria that Mike laid out earlier in the show. First of all, he's had a number of hits. Secondly, certainly the longevity factor. And thirdly, and most importantly, Courtney Cox looked great in the Dancing in the Dark video. That alone would put him on my list.
You're making a case.
I'll hate myself a little less on my next pick.
You can't get. He's a great guy. You can't go wrong.
All right, so Springsteen. Ryan, a comment? Heard of him?
Yes, I've heard of him, and not. I don't have much
You know
to
what?
say about him.
Don't talk. You said it all by playing Dancing in the Dark.
Americana.
That's really, we're all good. over here.
Working class hero. That's what I've got for
Dancing.
Springsteen.
Okay.
Another 80s story. We had we threw a roller skating party for him at the old USA roller rink behind the Thruway Mall for his birthday party when he came to town. We did like the River Tour's coming back, and we had his birthday party. I think it was the River Tour. Had a great party for him here. Great guy, great band.
How long ago was that? Like, that's early.
These are all
Tour
the
is
80s. I'm
70s.
old. Remember? No, it's early 80s. Early 80s.
He went to USA Roller Rink for a roller skating
We had
party.
a private roller skating party. Shut the place down. Had a little party. Everybody came
Nice.
to Clarence. Great guys. A lot of fun.
Boy, this is working out well. The band draft, everyone,
Team,
on WGR.
Team
the
Tomasulo, Team
the
Bauer
Pro
Bulls.
Bowls
Because
last
you're
weekend.
telling old stuff. I'm good at this old stuff.
Yeah.
Now, Bolly's picking here.
I'm
I'm just here
picking.
for color, so I may
right.
disagree with this, but
No, you can't disagree with this. I can justify this on every level of criteria.
You will be asked to.
I'm sure, and I'm ready. I don't think you can dispute this at all. I got to pick. This actually was my second pick, but I have to use it first. This is the band that started the whole California thing in 1972, influenced hundreds of other bands, a million hits, great vocals, great musicians. Of course, it's got to be Glenn, Don, and the rest of the Eagles that they screwed.
I love it. Both Bulldog and I have been talking Eagles all week with that documentary on Netflix. That I don't know if Netflix made it. It goes back a couple of years at least,
Showtime.
right?
It was on Showtime.
and
Yeah, originally, yeah, I think
what
so.
did you think of it?
I thought it was really overall. I thought it was excellent. Obviously, it looked to me, most of us in the biz, we sort of thought that Henley was kind of the evil partner, and it looked like they tried to position Glenn as being the hard guy and the heavy in that band.
Yeah.
And I'm still not sure I buy that because they reran an interview with Glenn Frey with Tavis Smiley on PBS, and Frey comes across as actually being a really, really nice guy, and I didn't detect anything there. It almost looked forced in the documentary where Frey was trying to kind of take the heat off of Don Henley.
What I liked, and we talked about this, I thought, those two guys definitely they thought well of themselves. Fry at the end of the movie saying, we're going to do this reunion. Don and I have to get paid more than the other guys. It's just how it has to be. We've been keeping the name alive. We're the stars, right? And I thought, yeah. I mean, it doesn't sound good. It's not the kind of thing that everybody would like hearing or like to have said. But, yeah, that makes sense. I thought that was all right. And I thought I didn't really know anything about them until this movie, and I came away from it liking them both. Even though they were rough at times. I liked them both.
Well, in music, somebody's got to be the boss. And as you said, their voices, Henley and Frey, defined that band like McCartney and Lennon defined the Beatles. Like it or not, it was their band, their voices, and the mistake they made, they never should have made Don Felder an equal legal partner. If they had just not done that, they never would have had a problem. And, oh, by the way, I really do think that the Eagles, missed Don Felder. He did contribute a lot to their music. Great guitar player.
This is he.
Yeah.
right? Oh, you can't hear. You guys
We
aren't.
can't hear. We got no headphones.
This is
here.
Felder, Bulldog.
Yeah, right.
The lead on Hotel California.
He wrote.
First
the
of all, I
music for this.
love Felder. I go see him all the time, but I hate that pick in this place right now.
Me too. I've been waiting to say I think it's our first reach.
Oh my God!
I think it's early for the Eagles. I've grown to appreciate them. I love the documentary. I just think it's early. Dick's in the Hall of Fame. Who am I? I just think it's early for the Eagles.
Yeah, but I was going to pick the McGuire sisters, and I audibled at the very last
Well, you
second.
did all right, I guess.
The Eagles, fantastic players, great vocals, love all that stuff. Whoever ran out and got a guitar or wanted to get in a band just because I went and heard the Eagles, it didn't make me go, oh, wow, that was amazing. Love them. I mean, I think they're fantastic.
Key
Would've been my
point.
second
Right.
or third round, but there's those older bands that totally change the way you look at it. Yeah, they redefined that Southern rock thing, and they were great players. But it didn't make me go, oh, I got to be in that band.
All right, so you're up, and if you had that pick, you're going to pick somebody yourself here anyway.
All right, so I don't count. So this is just an off-the-wall
This
pick,
counts.
but-
This counts.
This is a pick. It's a
Second
snake draft,
round.
so you're up for your
well,
second
no.
pick.
See, this is Dixie because I'll leave him high and dry on something like this. So I'll have an off-the-wall pick for us old rock and rollers, but this does not count because I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Bowerly.
All right, wait a minute. I'm
No,
not
it
clear.
counts.
No,
Is
we're
this
not-
going to count or not?
It's
No, it
his, it's
counts.
his
Donnie
pick.
doesn't want it
No,
to count.
I picked mine. You pick yours.
Pick it.
Pick it.
It
Pick
counts.
it. Pick it. It counts. It's going on the board.
Counts.
All right,
Counts.
I'm going off the wall, and I'm going to go back and pick somebody like a Deep Purple because they totally changed my way of thinking about a band. Bands like Deep Purple or Grand Funk, where I wanted to be in that band. It was so heavy. It was so cool. It was so different. It totally changed the way. You've never heard of Deep Purple?
No, I have. I mean, I'm not going to pick them.
But
You sure
You
not?
can't
No.
now.
But it's a total off the wall pick because, like Zeppelin, totally changed the way you thought about bands. I mean, how often when you were a kid did you listen to Machine Head? Or every kid picked up a guitar to play Smoke on the Water. As a drummer, I played Smoke on the Water. you
Machine
know?
Head is the first album I ever got.
I mean, it was so influential.
I love that they got picked. It blows my mind they got picked this soon, but I love that we're doing this and a band like Deep Purple got picked.
Deep Purple.
It is not Fuzzy Thurston. It is not Forrest Gregg.
Hey, I would have picked Grand Funk, but I want to really go off on the deep end. So I was torn between the two.
All right, Deep Purple at 6. It is not Jim Ringo. The band draft is off. We go into the second round here, and we'll come back. Jeremy's up. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, Jeremy White, Don Tomasulo, Dick Bowerly, Ryan Gates as well, our producer. This is WGR. Thank you, guys. Huey Lewis and the News are here to play our band draft. It has been... They're playing loud enough so they can't hear me now. I think they're concentrating on their songs. It has been asked in this room if they are eligible to be drafted. We'll just see what happens. The band draft here on WGR, Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, Jeremy White, Don Tomasulo, Dick Bowerly with us as a tandem entry. We are coming up on the 7th overall pick. Led Zeppelin, Rolling Stones, Beatles, Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band, the Eagles, and Deep Purple. We're getting lots of feedback, including this last question you got about our draft.
Someone asked, did someone just pick Deep Purple? Was that Matt Millen?
Matt Millen references, part of our band draft. The NHL All-Star Game is Sunday evening. Ryan O'Reilly is there representing the Sabres. 3-on-3, division by division. You know, I think these All-Star Games are pretty much well past their prime, but I'm optimistic that this one can look like competition because 3-on-3, don't you kind of have to get after it?
You might, and because there's nowhere to hide. I mean, you can't just float around. I don't think anyway. Maybe you can. I'll be watching. I watch it every year, even as we bemoan how meaningless and boring it is. I'm always there, so I'll be there again. And tying back into the band draft, all the guys are getting guitars. Gibson, Les Paul. They look like Les Paul Studios to me. All-Star editions, their names engraved on them. And Ryan O'Reilly, it was learned today, has a collection of his own already, like 15 guitars. So pretty cool.
He has a guitar collection to go with his truck collection.
Right.
Doesn't he have trucks? The one.
Well, he has the one that he
Yes.
crashed. I don't know if he has a
which
bunch
was like
more.
an amazing
Yeah, like
vintage
a
truck.
46 Ford or something, yeah.
Well, if I had that pay rate, I'd collect a bunch of cool stuff, I think.
Right.
Okay, Jeremy, are you confident here? Are you ready?
I'm quite confident. I'm going to get back to my roots, back to, I mean, everybody knows the game here. You guys are all old. I got pressured into. I'm picking a groundbreaking band with a groundbreaking genre and a song that's incredibly appropriate. I can remember the first time I heard it. I would have been, I don't know, 12, 13. I should look up what year, maybe 1990. And I remember watching the music video on MTV. Yeah, that's right. And thinking, oh, I bet this is going to be a song that I remember for the rest of my life. The song being Jeremy, and the band being Pearl Jam. Pearl Jam is one of the trailblazers up there with Nirvana. I always liked Pearl Jam better than Nirvana. I liked a couple of the other ones, Stone Temple Pilots, all that was my formative time. And I remember the first time I saw this video. And it's an insane video, too. This was where artists started to do, crazy stuff. And I've seen them in concert. They've been around forever. They're still around. He's amazing. Pearl Jam. Much more comfortable with it.
Anybody have a real issue with this? I don't.
No. To me, they're one of the only... They're the band... I talk a lot of music on Twitter. Some of my followers really dig it. And occasionally, like if I'm in a mood and I'm listening to After the Gold Rush or something else from, the late 60s or early 70s, someone will tweet at me like, who today are people going to still be talking about 30 years from now? And I will always fire back with Pearl Jam. Like, I think they will be around. I mean, I don't know if they'll be performing in 30 years, but I think their music will resonate for years and years and years to come.
Sounds like they just quit. I don't know where they went.
So I like the pick a lot.
That album 10, it was one of the first CDs I ever owned, and I played it all the time. The song, of course, it's just feels good.
Yeah,
feels good.
Hold on, Donnie, your mic isn't on.
Go ahead.
Even old rock and rollers like me get that pick. That was a solid pick because the only question was, do you go Nirvana or Pearl Jam or the influential? And got no problem with the Pearl Jam pick because, like you said, they're still around today. They're still playing with whether it's Eddie sitting in with Tom Petty or Neil Young. I mean, he's crossed generations, and he's got that, and they're still there. It was a great pick.
And none of them married Courtney Love. Another good reason for that pick.
I didn't dislike Nirvana, but for me, Pearl Jam I just liked them a little better.
I tweeted a version, a cover version, them covering a song. I also tweeted the original by a band called the Dead Boys. They have covered Sonic Reducer for years. And if for no other reason, I'm glad you picked Pearl Jam. If they were going to get picked, so I could mention the Dead Boys, who I was never going to pick in a million years, but still got a chance to get them in the band draft.
I'm up at 8. I'm in a spot here where there's my favorite band to listen to. There are, of course, legendary, iconic, huge bands still left here. And I have, with this pick, and Huey Lewis is still out. This pick, then there'll be 4 more, and then I get to go again. I think I'm looking at this, I'm going to be able to get both. One way or another, I'm going to get my guys and then one of those monster bands. So what should the order be? I think I have a better chance taking my guys now and still picking from maybe 2 or even 3 monster bands. I'm going with these guys at 8. The Silent Treatment.
The Sound of Silence.
Do we have it? It's not working?
Picked a real rocker.
A band that was
really
first
jumping.
named on a Friday, changed its name after a Talking Head song. Radiohead. Don cringing. Dick looking at Don. What is Radiohead? They both seem to have that face right now. What is Radiohead? Love this. This is 2 + 2 = 5 from Hail to the Thief. Hail to the Thief, Insomniac, Kid A, King of Limbs. They're still great. OK Computer should be first.
Yeah.
The first one mentioned. Radiohead for me. Go ahead. Have at me.
Makes my Deep Purple pick seem great.
You probably didn't promote a Radiohead show.
No, actually, I think Harvey Corky might have done that one. I like Radiohead. I think it's interesting. I just don't see it in that same genre. I think it's a great band. I just think there's other influences. But it's cool that you went with that kind of pick.
I am counting on having a great pick there for me in the 3rd round, too. So as I recognize there are huge, famous bands still available here. That's my strategy.
Not a bad strategy.
That might be known as getting cute.
It wouldn't be the first time I've been accused of that.
Jeremy, that's a reach, right? In the
Well,
draft world,
I'm just
that's
saying,
a reach, right?
you put off what you think is great for something to make a little point.
Well,
you know?
My play was I was worried I would lose it.
Yeah, you
at
never
picks
know.
9-12.
You just never know. A band like this could have snuck up. There are there are
Not holding up a sign that reads E.J. Manuel.
They were under consideration for me. I don't know where I would have taken them, but I certainly would have taken them if they were still there at some point. I don't know if I would have gone this early, but
What do I want to say, Bulldog? You're the guy. What do I want to say about this band that I didn't say? About their greatness?
wow, how graphic do I want to be? Coldplay is trying really, really hard to be them and is flailing around miserably. Coldplay sucks.
So you're not taking Coldplay.
Radiohead is awesome.
Ryan,
Playing the Super Bowl.
could you have?
Right.
I don't know you well enough. I'm thinking Ryan, the younger guy, could have picked them. Was I right?
No.
Okay.
Not even close. There was absolutely 100%
That was fast.
no chance.
When I think
of me
Radiohead, I think that I know a lot of people that do enjoy them. I've dabbled. There are people that are completely all about them, and if nothing else, they're not. They are mainstream, but they're not. Like they're. I don't want to say polarizing, but there's a certain level of appreciation or accomplishment there that is not completely universal. That I think is actually to be appreciated. That they've made albums that are so different that you're not just going to roll them out and everybody's going to know what they are.
They're the rare band that I think gets to be massive, sell millions and millions of records, sell out stadiums almost anywhere they want to, and yet be almost critically bulletproof. Like, that's a rare feat.
I love the mood I get in listening to Radiohead. It's almost always the same mood, too, but it's like it's intense, it's brooding almost. I just love what it does to me. For me. Bulldog at 9.
I love how this thing has fallen for me because I am getting the two most important bands of my youth, and I'm getting them right here, and nothing I would say is reachy about either one. You can quibble about me passing on the Beatles for the Stones, but that's who I am. With my second pick, I'm taking The Who. I am taking The Who. In order to appreciate The Who, I think, it's my opinion that you have to sort of black out the performances that you've seen over the last 5 to 10 years, the Super Bowl, other performances. It's just not the same. Some artists can continue. The Stones can keep doing what they do and pull it off. Because it's kind of slinky and it's sloppy and it works. The Who was music to knock buildings down to. Not necessarily this song, but the anthems. Baba O'Reilly, Won't Get Fooled Again. This is crushing, meaningful, spiritual stuff. Quadrophenia changed my life. The Who.
I can't argue with that pick at all. One of my favorite albums when I first started learning music was The Who's, I believe, second album, the My Generation album. And I played that thing a million times. And, like the Beatles, I hate to keep using the Beatles, they kept getting better and better. I mean, you think about My Generation to the song that Ryan is playing now.
Yeah.
I mean, what growth, what creative growth. I mean, I thought The Who equally were phenomenal. They meet every criteria.
Yeah, whether it was Quadrophenia ultimately is where I peaked with The Who, and that was like my entry point to the music of my late teens, punk rock and all of that. To me, The Who is like the ground floor of that, even if thematically mostly they're not like that. It was enough like that, and I think respected by those players that I became, really to like. I used to listen to Summertime Blues off of Live at Leeds every day in headphones before I went out to the bus in like middle school. Love The Who.
Donnie, thought?
Look, if I hadn't picked Purple, I had The Who right up there, so you can't go wrong with it. What a band. I saw them here in Buffalo the night after Cincinnati when the kids got crushed. They played Buffalo. That was one of the most emotional concerts I had ever seen, just that emotion filling the room. And so I just think about it gives me the chills. So that's a great pick. They haven't beat I gotta watch what I said. They haven't beat the heck out of each other when they were not getting along, but yet they still pulled through. Always found a way to perform in an amazing band that they're still together, at least the two of them.
We'll get to a break here, then Ryan will be back with 10 and 11 and into round 3, the band draft, All-Star Weekend football and hockey with the Pro Bowl, and then the NHL All-Star stuff Sunday evening, 5 o'clock, I believe, the beginning of those two games, and then the finals as the divisions face off against each other 3-on-3. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, Jeremy White, Don Tomasulo, Dick Bowerly. It's our band draft here on WGR. Thank you, Huey. Thank you, boys. Huey Lewis and the News here playing our band draft. It's nice of them to do that.
They work cheap.
They work cheap, and they're here at short notice. The band draft, Dick Bowerly, you just heard, with Don Tomasulo, Jeremy White here as well. We are 9 picks in. Led Zeppelin, the Rolling Stones, the Beatles, Bruce Springsteen. Yes, that was the order. Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band. The Eagles, Deep Purple. What a day for them. 7, Pearl Jam, then Radiohead, and The Who. Ryan Gates, our young producer, has 2 picks here. Ryan.
Who's in the green room right now just waiting nervously? Who's the band that's being shown on television over and over waiting to be selected?
The Backstreet Boys.
I think it came up in here during the break. I think Pink Floyd is wondering what's happening. Pink Floyd's agent really told them to be ready to be a top pick, and
do I see the late Andy Gibb as well in that room? Is that who I see over there, the apparition of Andy Gibb? Ryan.
Well, we'll put all those Pink Floyd rumors to rest, because I will be taking Pink Floyd with this pick. A lot of influence on a lot of the music that I listen to nowadays. They started dabbling around with a lot of electronics and guitar riffs, and that's the kind of music that I'm into. So they've had a big influence on a lot of the bands that I'm listening to nowadays, and you can't go wrong with Pink Floyd. And I feel like a real bargain at pick number 10. Real bargain.
That's probably right. Is this good value, Pink Floyd at 10?
Yes.
I think it is.
Yeah, I mean, whether we like their music or not, they do meet the criteria, longevity. And David Gilmour, by the way, is a really good guitar player. I'd put him on just because of his ability.
Donnie, a thought on Pink Floyd? Your personal story?
Personally, I hate Pink Floyd. Just I didn't smoke enough whatever to like Pink Floyd. But after
kind
Gilmour,
of incriminating Ryan there.
Yeah,
Nice
pick.
He's got it from a different place or whatever. So Gilmour and Roger Waters break up. So Roger's doing the solo tour. Roger thinks he is Pink Floyd. Gilmour thinks he's Pink Floyd. So it's the Radio Chaos tour. Remember Jim Ladd, famous disc jockey, was on tour, and so Roger was like Crazy Man, like the Count of I can't think of the name of that the book I'm thinking of. He's just
the Count of Monte Cristo.
That's the one, or whatever it is. He's,
Dumas.
No. But any case,
I don't know.
He's
That's the only Count I know.
Hilton. It'll come to me.
Count Chocula. That's who he's
Count Chocula.
It wasn't Count Chocula, but he's a great athlete, hardworking guy, and the record guy was driving him crazy. So it was like, you take Roger Waters around, and he is so intelligent and smart. It's like that fine line, as they say in their songs, fine line between genius and insanity. That's Pink Floyd.
But you don't like him?
Personally, no.
Okay. Pick 11, Ryan. Hopefully you do better for Donnie.
Oh, well, I'm not sure if that's going to be the case, but going with another band with a big influence with a lot of what we heard, and that'll be Nirvana.
Ryan's holding his own here.
Yeah, he really is.
Did I sound surprised? I don't know if I meant to.
Yes, but, Nirvana, really the leaders of the grunge movement. Jeremy had already picked Pearl Jam. My preference is Nirvana over Pearl Jam, so I was satisfied with his pick. I think we're both happy here with what we got, and looking down my roster, I'm satisfied with my 3 picks.
Ryan's picks: Led Zeppelin at 1, Pink Floyd at 10, and Nirvana at 11. We're all on Twitter playing this out. Bulldog will be next after the update. There's a report that the Chargers and Rams are going to share a new stadium in L.A., Inglewood Stadium, Inglewood, California, which would mean that the Chargers are headed up the road there whenever. Do we know yet from this report if that will be this year? It would seem that maybe that probably should happen if they're going to move. Because imagine those games if that's out there and they're still in San Diego. Like, what fun is that? But that's the report now in the last little bit here that the Chargers and Rams have made a deal to share a stadium in the L.A. area, Inglewood. Bulldog, do you know what you're doing at 12? Or are you going to take the 5 minutes here?
I'm gonna need to consult with my scouts.
Who's the best team? Donnie, who's the best team on the board? You thinking there's an obvious pick here?
You know what? I don't think there's an obvious pick. It's going to be interesting.
There are some giants sitting out there, and I'm just not sure if I want to do that or not.
Mm-hmm. I too see ABBA, so you're right. I agree with you. Donnie, are you leaving?
I'll hang with 5. And then I'm out of here.
You're going to stay a little bit. Good. Don Tomasulo, Dick Bowerly, Jeremy White, Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, Ryan Gates as well. It's our band draft. It gets interesting, and it gets harder, I think, as we get into round 3. That's after the update here on WGR. We continue with the band draft. Happy Friday. The sun is shining here in Amherst. The band draft continues. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, Jeremy White, Don Tomasulo, and Dick Bowerly, a couple of local music titans. Dick's in the Buffalo Music Hall of Fame. Donnie promoting, playing the drums, the All-Star Project. These guys, winter hiatus, but back in May. You'll see them on the local circuit. Who's winning this draft? Take out Nirvana, the 11th pick. Just give us our 2 each. Ryan, our producer, has Led Zeppelin and Pink Floyd.
Pretty good.
Bulldog has the Stones and the Who. A couple of those. I have the Beatles and Radiohead. Jeremy White, Bruce Springsteen, and Pearl Jam. Dick and Donnie have the Eagles and Deep Purple.
I know who's losing. Dick and Donnie are
The Music Hall of Famer is losing?
They're losing the draft.
I don't think so. Besides, I got my big play coming up.
There's still a lot of draft left. Dick, you're right. There's a lot of draft
There's a
left.
lot.
Okay, kudos
There's
to
a lot.
Ryan.
You like where Ryan's at? He's got Nirvana in there, too. 3rd round. Let's move. Bulldog, you are up. Pick 3.
Well, I'm gonna get a little greedy. There are some titans that are still there to be had, and my sense of the room is that I could wait on this band. But when you've had as good a first 2 rounds as I've had, you can afford to, I think, I don't know if it's cute, get greedy. I'm taking a band here that started out playing literally, just 3-chord chainsaw punk rock anthems, rebellion, throw a brick through a window, and in a span of about 4 years had morphed into this. Which I think is borderline incredible. Some bands, the Ramones, for an example, who I love and maybe I'll take later, start out one way and they just plow that road and they sell records and they do great. The Clash evolved and turned me on to so many different kinds of music. Love them. I'm taking them right here.
This is the Clash, then?
This is the Clash.
Did you know that?
I'm trying to remember. Did I send you something about them, like a podcast or a link to, hey, listen to this story about? Who was that about? Didn't I send you?
Yes, you did.
I don't remember who it was about.
It wasn't about
the Clash, but it was some.
No.
It was a similar story about a band that started one way and kind of how they, whatever.
Question. It sounds like you're describing Question Mark and the Mysterians. Dick, am I right? Is that who he's talking about?
Sounds like it to me.
So have at it. You guys are probably going to rail on me because I probably could have gotten the Clash much later, but they are influential, important, and mean more to me than maybe any other band ever. I wasn't going to take them second, that's for sure.
I hate to admit this on the air, but if Bulldog said this band that just pops balloons is influential and important, I would say, okay, well, you're probably right. So I'm not going to step on it. You guys?
No, I'm not either. I agree. He's obviously very passionate about the pick, and he believes in it, and it's good enough for me, Mike.
That was always one of those bands that people loved. And I liked them, too. I just never got it, why they were so influential, because I knew a bunch of people that were, so you can't knock the pick. But you could have got him in a later round.
Jeremy, you sense like Bulldog is the Belichick here, and that whatever he does in the room is sort of that he must like it for a reason. He must see something there.
Yes, I think that's accurate.
Deserved.
Yes.
Their 4th album is called Sandinista, and I'm 16, and I don't know what the hell that means. And then a week later, I hear the evening news talking about Nicaragua, and I'm paying attention. That's a band. That's influence.
All right. The Clash. Is everybody on your team British so far?
I'm going to have to get some home cooking soon.
Wow.
I don't know if maybe that's fine. Everybody gets along. I don't know. All right, so I'm up with my third round pick, the Beatles, which is everything. Radiohead, which for me, like, I'm no music critic at all. I'm careful just to even be talking here, but I love how it makes me feel. It's sort of, Bulldog said once, Radiohead is for when it's cloudy and windy. And like that's right. That's what I need it for. That's what I like about it. And even though this isn't that, maybe I would say that the beginning of this song, one of this band's most famous songs, does the same thing for me.
What is your problem?
Well, both times I said, Ryan, this is what I'm going to do. Okay, no, well, that's funny. That's Vanessa Williams. I do love Vanessa Williams.
I'm sorry, no solo artists are
That's
allowed.
right.
Like I said, this puts me in a mood that I enjoy being in. All right, that's a good one. Here's the real
Touche.
pick.
Oh, yeah, okay.
All right.
The Doors.
Okay.
You guys do the talking, because you guys are the ones who know the things.
I shouldn't. I hate the Doors.
Hate them.
Yeah.
Musically.
Yeah.
Because?
I'm an ass. I don't know.
Because
It
of
just-
Almost Famous.
Yeah, probably.
They're ripped and Almost Famous?
Lester Bangs, when he's in the radio studio doing the interview, the guy, it's Philip Seymour Hoffman, the late, great Philip Seymour Hoffman, playing the great rock critic Lester Bangs, is making a radio appearance, and I want to try to get it right. Jim Morrison's a drunken buffoon masquerading as a poet. Give me the Guess Who. They are drunken buffoons, which in turn makes them poetic.
Okay.
Very nice. I might have wanted to draft you there. If I could have that over. I love the voice. I love the mystery about... He was a jerk. But, I mean, I love the mystery about him. Just like a guy who had so much power, Dick. So much power. Morrison. It wasn't for long.
No, and he did have a really intoxicating stage persona. When you watch those old concerts that they show on Palladia, even if you don't like the music, that whole band, as dark as they were as a unit, there was just something that just lured you in. You got sucked right into their music.
Stage persona, with or without his pants down.
Correct.
Donnie, you don't like this either, do you?
I'm not a Doors fan. I'm not a Pink Floyd. I'm not a Pink Floyd fan. I get both of them. I mean, their top picks are on all the time. I joke I can name that tune in 3 notes and it's the Doors and I change it. But I get it. I've seen it, and I don't disagree with the pick. It's just not my pick.
How many rock songs are bigger and better than "Light My Fire" in the history of rock and roll?
Not many.
All right, the Doors for me. Jeremy,
All right.
did you want any of these bands that have gone recently?
Me?
Yeah.
I do kind of like L.A. Woman, I just got to say.
I honestly had the Doors pegged in my category of go-tos that won't get you yelled at too much by the room. They were. I figured like I could do that.
You read me well there.
See, it's an interesting thing. Like we've got this this draft with bands, and I find I'm going through my phone like, who to listen to? Oh no, he's by himself all the time. He's by himself all the time. Like B.B. King, Bob Dylan. They don't have bands. Does Jimi Hendrix, is the Experience of bands, that count?
Yes.
Okay.
I think the Jimi
I'm
Hendrix
ambivalent on
Experience counts. Yes.
Okay, then I'm going to take that.
Damn.
Yeah.
That was my pick.
I've got many other picks that I listen to more, but I absolutely appreciate, it's just the sound. Like, we were talking about the voice, Mike. I love Hendrix.
Yeah.
And I have late in life started to come into like the older guitar players, and he's old to me, obviously, but yeah, I'm good with that. It's funny, like the generational differences. My Twitter generation is telling me who to get, and I want to tell all of them, I'll get there. None of these people have heard of these bands.
Yeah. You're reading the room.
A little bit. So I'll take the Jimi Hendrix Experience because I think that's a great individual that I get to get into a band. I feel like I'm kind of cheating. I've got a tweener here, so I'll take it.
That was going to be my pick, Jeremy, so you're not going to get an argument from me.
Jimi Hendrix and the Experience.
Yeah, so the later stuff with Band of Gypsies, does that count? Is that a different band? or
No,
what?
it's a different band, but that friend of mine there's a live record of theirs out. I don't know if there's anything even studio, but there's a live record
Every year there's a new live
the
record.
band of gypsies that blew my freaking mind when he played it for me.
Buddy Miles, great singer and drummer.
All right, Donnie, you stuck around a little bit past your bedtime. We're glad for that. You and Dick have the next 2 picks.
Well, I wanted to see Dick's pick, so now that you took Hendrix out of him, I'm ready to see what my man's going to pick.
Well, look, I've been taking a lot of abuse already, and we're only like a couple rounds into this thing. I got to start bringing out the heavy artillery.
Uh-oh.
All right, and I do believe you have left me with, again, I would have had 2, but Jeremy stole one of them. Another softball pick. This is such a home run pick. It would be like I need a touchdown to win the game, and I see Ron Brooks is covering my number 1 receiver.
Uh-oh.
That's how much of a home run
Wow.
I think this
Sports
is.
quota.
Throwing shade at
Hey,
Ron
he
Brooks.
really did lead up to the Eagles pick pretty boastfully,
Yeah.
too. I'm just saying. Okay,
But
go
I
ahead.
liked it, though.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Mike. Well, I got to go with an iconic band that took glam rock to the extreme. They are absolutely still incredible, much like with Jim Morrison, but a much nicer persona.
I know what's coming.
Had a dynamic lead singer, and anytime you have a phenomenal guitar player who has a PhD in astrophysics, how can I not pick Freddie Mercury and Queen?
Okay. I thought it was going in a different direction.
Really?
I really did. I did.
Seriously.
Did you have any idea?
No, I had no idea
thought it
where
was
he was
Queen,
going.
yeah.
I
I
didn't know what he
thought
was doing.
I thought when you started saying glam rock, I thought it was coming down to a name that might
Hey.
go somewhere that I will barf at. So
I felt like I needed to Google great rock bands today for this event, and Queen is way up there
Queen's
on
all over
all
the
those
place.
lists.
Yes.
Thank you.
And so millions of records, you forget. Way
Yes.
even bigger in Europe than they got here.
Yeah.
A huge amount
I
of
mean,
records.
stadiums all over the world. As a guitar player, I don't know, you just have to adore Brian May.
He is one of the all-time greats, and sort of unheralded, really.
Yeah.
But he's as good as anybody who's ever recorded.
Donnie, you on board?
I'm on board with his next pick because I'm putting the pressure on him.
But the Queen pick?
Oh, I'm totally on the Queen pick. They were in my top 10 if you had to have them. If I hadn't gone off the wall. I mean, a great band, toured the world. I mean, talk about influences. And then the fact that they still toured even without Freddie, that you can go and get Paul Rogers to do that thing. To me, that's amazing.
What do we do with We Will Rock You, We Are the Champions? Does that work for them or against them?
Look, to me, it works for them. You played in every stadium. Every
I
time someone
think
goes like that.
everybody knows
come
it.
on,
I
it's
yes,
crazy.
when it comes to anthem rock, like We Will Rock You,
That's it.
I think it works for them.
Number 1,
Yeah.
right? I mean, that's the number 1 song in the history of sports after the national anthem.
Just rhythm. I mean, just that rhythm, and you know immediately where it came from.
Right. 3 notes.
3 notes, amazing. Not even a note. Basically, it's a
Right,
it's
right.
a
It's a
feeling.
beat.
Hey, the
Queen.
the song he's playing right now, keep in mind, incredibly complicated, and there was no digital recording in those days where you could copy, cut, and paste. These guys had to play this in the studio. I mean, that is remarkable to me, and layer and layer and layer and layer. Genius.
Genius to put it into Wayne's World too.
Yes, they did.
In all seriousness,
Yes, they
without
did.
Wayne's World, I don't know if I've ever heard that song.
Jeremy, did you draft Wayne's World in the comedy movie draft, and maybe you're wondering if you get Queen?
You know, I didn't, but that's a good movie. That would have been a good pick.
Do I get Bohemian Rhapsody if I go see the All-Star Project? Do I get a performance of this song?
No.
Okay, pick
You have another one, right?
16. You guys are up again.
Yeah, I'm torn between 2. I think I can grab one later. So I'm gonna take the esoteric, classy route because, like Bulldog, had his selection of a very big influence for him, being the Clash. Correct?
Yep.
This next band was a huge influence of mine, and I learned a lot from them. It's the only band that I've ever listened to where I know all their songs. I have no idea what any of them are about. So that alone qualifies great for me, and it can only be Steely Dan.
I knew it. I didn't want to
I
steal
have
your
no
pick, but
idea
as you're
what-
leading up to it, I'm like, he's picking Steely Dan.
I have
just
no
know it.
idea what any of those songs are about. They're crazy.
They're fun.
Yeah.
They're too catchy, even though you don't know what they're talking about. Yes, and you will see some Steely Dan with Dick when we see the All-Star Project.
that I'll
but I
get.
have
We'll
no
play
idea
this.
what they're doing.
We will play this song. We will play this song.
Do it again.
Yes, we will.
Bodhisattva.
Yes.
Ricky, don't lose that number.
Well, maybe.
I think we lost that number.
You lost that
Yeah, we
number.
lost.
Joyride plays My Old School.
See, this is why I feel inferior in this room, because I know this song. I could almost like sing it, but I have no idea if Steely Dan was like a 3-year thing or a 30-year thing. I don't know.
A 30-year thing.
Yeah.
They still fill out all the gigs that they play. All
They
the
play.
concerts.
They're alive.
You'd know that there's a guitar player who plays on a lot of their stuff. And he's played at the Sportsman's a couple times.
Elliot Randall.
Jeez, I don't know if that's the name.
That is. It's Elliot Randall. He did all the guitar stuff on Reelin' in the Years.
Plays a 335.
Yeah. Good, excellent player, obviously.
Yeah.
Well, I love this. I mean, how could right? This is easy to like, isn't it? You dig this?
I do. I picked it.
Yeah, you must love it. Steely Dan at 16. What a draft for Dick Bowerly and Don Tomasulo with the Eagles, Deep Purple, Queen, and Steely Dan. You guys have so much radio experience. This is what's on the list in what year? All of it in a row, over and over, is these four bands.
Pretty
like
much.
1979, I'm getting boom, 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 boom.
Yeah,
Right?
why change it now?
Pretty
It's
much.
perfect.
It's 2016, though. That's the only small point I would make after
What?
that.
It is?
Jeremy, you're up
All right.
next. You got some Seattle here. Plenty of Seattle on your team.
I got one Seattle on my team, right?
Hendricks?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Isn't he Seattle?
He is.
Yes,
Born
yeah.
in Seattle.
There's
Yeah,
a
absolutely.
Rare
Connection.
reference.
Yes.
And Pearl Jam.
All right, so next up. This is a band that I might have listened to as much as any in my life. I might have had more of their CDs than any other.
Uh-oh.
They have been around for a long time. They're kind of like The Simpsons to me. Throughout my life, they were there, and in the last 10 years, they're not really there anymore. You know, like just, I bet they're still around, but I'm really not interested anymore. Death of a Member, franchise genre. I think I was asked in college once, like one of those get to know each other. If you go to a desert island, what album would you bring? And I was an idiot, and I said a Metallica album because it's just not a right answer. But at the time, I just liked Metallica. The Black Album is incredible. They've done a lot of different things. They started out really crazy thrash hard, and then they got a little more poppy. And they even did an album, a double disc with the San Francisco Philharmonic or some, whatever. Like they were willing to do different things. So, you know, in terms of influence and power and what they bring, and to play the Metallica Guitar Hero game is a ton of fun. Holy
Tough.
cow! Let me tell you, playing the drums on that is amazing.
Guitar Hero for me ended when I couldn't get through on the song One, which
Oh,
might be this
geez,
song.
which is
This
what we're
is
hearing right
this
here.
is an iconic
Like I
song.
could not beat
They're
One.
also the band that took down Napster, right? So that might kind of make them not great. Whatever. They've done enough. They've been around a lot. I'm comfortable. I know all their songs up until about Fuel, maybe.
big.
Donnie, you're a
Up to-
drummer.
up to
Opinion
Reload.
on Lars Ulrich?
I like Lars. I think that was a great pick. I'm a rocker, and I was breaking them up into categories, and you got to respect Metallica and Lars. I always cracks me up that Lars takes the lead and does all the talking, which I think was really cool. So it's a great band. They've stuck together through the changes. Great pick.
Yep.
Metallica at 17. Ryan, any
I
thoughts?
feel like Death of a Member gets you more points, shouldn't it? Like you
No thoughts.
You persevere. You go
Yeah.
through some adversity as a band.
A little bit more
I
machine.
just love that recently. Well, I don't love the fact that Lemmy from Motorhead died, but his death brought about Facebook and Twitter and whatnot. Everybody piling out just memories. And I saw a concert poster from I don't know what year from the Sky Room on Seneca Street in South Buffalo. Motorhead and Metallica playing. I mean, a 800-person room in South Buffalo. Can you imagine what that would have been like?
Just imagine the party after.
Oh my God!
All right.
I was not there for that, but holy crap!
Yeah.
All right, Jeremy. I'm up at. All right, Jeremy. I thank you. I'm up at 18 here. Like I don't know. I'm not Bulldog when it comes to knowing stuff
I don't
about
know.
bands. What I do know is this. I like how Jeremy just said it. This band has been around my whole life. I went to see them, and I don't go to very many concerts, but I was interested in this idea. I was in Washington, and I loved it. I looked at them as old, but they played for 2.5 hours or more, and there was no break, and I don't go to concerts, and I left going, that was pretty cool. And then people would tell me, yeah, whatever it was, you don't usually get that. At that time, they had everybody, and then one person left, and I think that person might be back, still working. I think Dick will tell me these guys. Fleetwood Mac.
Good pick. Good pick.
Are they musically great enough? I couldn't tell you. I just know that 10, 15 songs like easily right now. I know them, I love them, I would listen to them, and yeah.
No, I think that you said it all. Like 15 songs that we all know.
At least, maybe.
And great songs, memorable songs that you can hum along with. And Lindsey Buckingham, another very underrated guitar player. Watch him finger pick sometime.
How unusual is it, or much of a feather in their cap is it, that you'll hear different voices on their music?
It's sort of unusual, but again, they built their brand that way with Lindsey's voice. But predominantly, when you think of Fleetwood Mac, you probably think more of Stevie and a little less of Christine McVie.
How about this voice?
That's Stevie.
It's a big female rock voice.
That's Stevie.
Anybody else? Fleetwood Mac.
To me, it's like an Eagles pick. Another band
Which
that
was
could
your
have been
team.
a lot later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wouldn't have picked the Eagles, remember? And I like Fleetwood Mac. You know, of course, I would have Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers up here if you're going to make that kind of pick, you know. But,
Saving them for you.
I know Dick will save them for me later. But I, you know, there's a couple other bands that still monsters on the board that haven't been picked that I would have picked before Fleetwood Mac.
Well, I also see Wham, just like you do, Donnie. So I know
Does
you
that
make your
count?
choices.
You know, Wham's a big band.
You make your choices. Let's go to Bulldog with his fourth rounder.
I grew up listening to all kinds of music. My parents, big country music fans, and I'm not picking a country band, but the band I'm about to pick, there are certainly elements of country in it, and I came to them really, really late. For me, anyway. I mean, they were long gone when I was a young man, anyway, or still a kid even, but appreciating them took me a while, because I think when I was first exposed to them, they sounded maybe too country for my tastes. I don't even know if that's really accurate, but that was just my perception. They had big beards and wore goofy-looking hats, and I just thought, like, who the hell, what is this? This isn't my thing at all. And as it turns out, I've gone, like, full circle, and the kind of music I like the most, probably, despite what I had to say about The Clash in my formative years, is really roots Americana rock. And I don't think there's much question that the band that invented that style of music is the band. So I'm taking the band, the blankety-blankin' band.
Eric Clapton would agree with you on this pick, by the way. He was a huge band fan, which is why he got rid of Blind Faith and then went off and did his own thing in the early 70s, because he wanted to emulate the band.
The band we're talking Levon Helm,
We're talking
Robbie Robertson.
Levon Helm,
Bobby Robertson, yeah.
You know,
Levon Helm just
Rick Danko on bass.
Rick Danko,
Is
Richard
it
Manuel.
a pick right now? I was
the band was just picked.
The band has been picked.
I didn't see
Now
that
I'm
one
disappointed.
coming.
Richard
Great-
Manuel and Danko,
Great band. Did not see that one
deceased.
coming. Everybody we've talked so far is on my list. That was one great band that's not on my list. Great pick. Interesting.
And
So
Jeremy,
happy.
They were Dylan's backup band. So
Well, that's the thing. Like, I was looking at another. I'm getting suggestions. It's kind of like if you draft a band, you kind of get team members. And there's another one out there that I'm exploring.
Bob Dylan's backup band. Why Bulldog wouldn't have picked his starter band first, I don't know, but we have these guys. The band at 19.
Great pick.
Ryan, you want to wait or you want to slip one in?
Let's slip one in.
Go ahead. Pick 20. Round it out.
All right.
End of round 4.
20 is going to be. Hold on just a moment.
poor
Would have
Ryan.
been so funny if he would have said, "I'm taking Black Flag here" after you said slip one in. But anyway, let's slip it in anyway.
The Red Hot Chili
wow.
Peppers.
You can't work here anymore. I mean, that's it.
That's it. I'm done.
Yeah.
Hey, for
I think
flaming piles of garbage flying out of the radio right now.
I think I said to a friend within the last week, if I never heard a Chili Peppers song again, I think I'd pay money.
In
well, you can pay me
preparation
money
for
to turn this
today's-
off right now.
In preparation
Like,
for
that'd be
today's
cool.
draft, I was running this morning thinking about the draft and what I would want to say if and when the Red Hot Chili Peppers got picked. I'm not kidding, and you just took the words right out of my mouth, Jared. Like I don't ever need to hear one of their songs again in my life ever.
Well,
See,
like I said, I'm here. I'm taking offers, and I'm in control right now. So
Yep.
we got a little bit.
I at one point but I'm just messed up like this. There are a number of bands that at one point I had a little bit of something for, and then I just hit a wall, and it's please never again. For whatever reason, some bands make it through that wall, and others I just hit it, and I never want to hear them again.
Yeah, I didn't always hate them, but I hate them.
But they influenced a lot of people.
Yes.
My kid's 19, and he is in the Chili Peppers.
Yeah, I'm
phase.
not
past it, but he'll listen to him.
Is it okay if I say I like Flea? I like Flea. I just can't stand the band.
Well, he's a good musician.
Yeah.
He's an excellent musician.
Look, Anthony Kiedis is cool. There's something about it. It's interchangeable to me. It's the Fleetwood Mac. They influence people. I don't know.
A lot of influence, high energy at their shows. That's what I look for. I look for bands who have a lot of energy at their shows. So
Yeah, but I mean the sock thing, Ryan.
I
is kinda
think, you
pushing
know
it.
what it
I
is?
like the sock
Can
thing.
I
What's
tell-
wrong with the socks?
Well, you won't see ASP doing that.
What it is for me? Wow. What it is for
Wait,
me?
ASB is the All-Star Project.
Right.
That's correct.
More than anything
Put that in
else,
there.
I think the Red Hot Chili Peppers were responsible for like the broification of alternative rock, like shirtless, backwards, ball cap wearing frat boy d-bags
And socks.
like showing up at shows and like feeling up chicks like that happened. I feel like they're the flag bearer for that. Like
You think
that's
they're
not their-
responsible for it?
It's not their fault, but it happened. Like it just happened.
You
So
can't,
I blame
blame
them.
the band for the scene that became of the band.
Suddenly, Mel Kiper saying the Colts have no idea how the draft works. It seems tame in comparison. All right, that's 20 picks of the band draft. We will have more for you, plus a sports update. Thanks for hanging out with us. It's different, but we hope you like it. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, Jeremy White, Don Tomasulo, Dick Bowerly as well. We'll continue here on WGR. Well, thank you, boys. Huey Lewis and the News here playing our band draft today. Nice to have them here. 20 picks in. We're having a band draft. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
All-Star Weekend in sports. Ryan O'Reilly representing the Sabres. Sunday, well, there's the skills competition first, but on Sunday in the games. Eastern Conference divisions versus each other, then West, or maybe that's the other way around, and then a finals after that on Sunday from Nashville. We have news today that a report that the Chargers and Rams are going to share a stadium. We'll have Sal in for Murph tonight. Back to the band draft.
Ryan,
Ryan-
we have, before you get Ryan is up. Is Ryan?
Yes.
Ryan will be next.
Donnie has left us. Dick Bowerly is still here. Jeremy's still here. You probably just said all that. I'm sorry. Donnie left he left a note. He left best available, I think, at least in his opinion, and I feel like that should be represented here because we're 20 picks into this thing, and there are still some giants sitting out there. And I'll just share with you a few that Donnie left. You two.
Should we evaluate them as we go?
Yeah.
I'm not sure we should.
I don't know if we have
No.
time. I just wanted to
Okay,
mention
okay.
this. Donnie says these are giants that are left. U2, Leonard Skinner, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, Black Sabbath, and Aerosmith.
Anybody else want to add names to that? I'm thinking the Grateful Dead might belong, or AC/DC on a list like that.
Yes.
Huge bands.
Shiver just went down my spine. I'm sorry. It's a reaction to AC/DC.
Seriously?
Yeah. Listen, I hit walls.
Wow.
I worked at a rock station. You'll hit a wall fast. If anybody says Ozzy Osbourne, I'm leaving the room. I just, ugh. I hit the wall.
That was going to be my next pick.
You can pick
Well,
it.
it still could be
It's
because
fine.
Jeremy will eventually have to leave. Ryan is up. Ryan just came off the Red Hot Chili Peppers, which was panned by Bulldog, destroyed.
That's fine.
And by some tweeters, too.
That's also fine. I'm not here to make anyone happy but myself.
You're not here for other people, are you,
That's
Ryan?
right.
It seems like through these drafts, the person in that room is always a little bit rogue, a little bit on his own.
Right.
Yeah, well, it's the
Does the-
glass.
Does
It's
the
glass?
does the word Liger come to mind?
Tom Sitch, Greg Bauk with mashed potatoes in the second round of a food draft. The person in that room, their brain gets eaten by spiders, apparently.
Well, I don't think my brain got eaten by spiders with this pick. It was just mentioned in the names that were remaining. I was going with it. Huge influence on a lot of the bands that I listen to nowadays, and that is the Grateful Dead.
Dick, are they good? Were they good?
Oh, God. I bought the Working Man's Dead CD, and there are some good songs on there, and I really wasn't sure. I thought that there was just a lot of musical meandering that wasn't really organized. But then, to Ryan's defense, I watched the Grateful Dead movie on Palladia, and actually the musicianship was far better than I really ever expected. So, yeah, I'm going to have to say that they were good. Not my cup of tea, but yes, certainly good.
Super famous, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The touring aspect of it is something that's big for me. The crowds that they draw, they're one of those first bands that had really a following that would follow them from tour stop to tour stop, and that turned into huge for like Fish.
You just drafted them. You
Humphreys.
just drafted a mob, is what you did.
Yes,
You
I drafted a
mob.
whole mob that's
did.
going to follow me around.
I'm gonna see. Jam band's never been really my thing, but I've got Working Man's Dead at home. I've got I think I've got American Beauty, inherited records from my wife's dad, and I'm sort of trying to get in the habit of remembering those that are there and pulling them out just to sort of do the work. Like, is this gonna penetrate in some way? Am I gonna dig this? So far, no, but it's not been a lot of spins, so we'll see.
Uncle John's Band is a great song. That was the one that got me interested.
BD, you're up.
I am up. Well, I'll tell you. What have I got so far here? I've got the Stones, I've got the Who, I've got the Clash, I've got the Band.
Bunch of those.
And so far, that's 3 English bands and a Canadian band is where I'm at. So I need something American, and I think I also need to break out for the good of the draft overall, genre-wise. And I'm into revolutionaries. I'm going Public Enemy right here. I'm taking, to me, in my opinion, I'm not the the expert or the connoisseur of the most meaningful rap music, but to me, Public Enemy rises way above the mire that really infected rap music popularly moving forward, gangster, misogyny, all that stuff. Public Enemy was smart. Are smart. They're still active. I follow Chuck D on Twitter. They were super important when they broke, and they need to be represented here. So I'm going Public Enemy. Apparently, we don't have any Public Enemy to play for you, which is fine. I did not prep Ryan on this.
Yeah,
This is sort
I
of-
was thinking about just hopping on YouTube, but I'm afraid about what they're going to say on the air, so I can't really
Good
call
point.
them on.
I tweeted out a song earlier, and there's just there's cursing in it. So whatever. I dig them. I've got a couple of their records on vinyl at home, and yeah, man, Yo Bum Rush the Show, Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Down. Yeah.
Well, okay. I want to hear opinions about. I want to hear experts tell me this. So I've got the Beatles, the Doors, Fleetwood Mac. Fleetwood Mac is the best of my picks for this point. Hits. And is there a necessary correlation between like talent and hits? I think people who are musicians would probably say, of course not. Is it good just because it's a hit?
I don't think there's a right answer for that. I mean, I think that's something that's up to any given individual. I mean, certain songs are going to resonate with a certain person. Is it the melody? Is it the lyrics? Is it the arrangement? It's hard to say. But in the case of the picks that you made, the bands that you made with the hit songs that they all had that I'm familiar with, I mean, I think that all their hit songs basically knocked it out of the park. At least they did for me.
Musicianship is not an area where I can't speak to that. It all looks pretty hard to play.
They're all good. No, they're all extremely capable on your list.
Whatever was the Three Chords band, I couldn't play it. So with that said,
Yes.
here comes my 5th round pick. Huge hits. No, I wasn't going to do. No. Not Simon and
No?
Garfunkel. I want you two.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's my
You two.
fault.
Yes.
I
Good.
mean, it's the middle of the 5th round, and
right. It's
you two.
kind of mind-blowing that they're just sitting there, I think.
Simon and Garfunkel. Ryan and I have talked about Simon and Garfunkel, but I just can't bring myself to do it because it isn't band. It's a band draft. I
a
love
duo.
them. It's all of this other stuff, but it's not. It's not even Jimi Hendrix in the Experience for like calling that a band. That actually is a band. Simon and Garfunkel, love them, but I just don't feel right. You two. Not my favorite. Value.
It's a solid pick. It's a can't miss pick. But they are a little overexposed. We were talking about that in the break. That but some of the luster may have worn off a little bit because of that. Plus, a lot of musicians do see themselves as being philosophers or wanting to change the world, so to speak. And I think sometimes that line that you don't want to cross, Bono maybe comes a little close to being a little bit too preachy. And I think that can turn off music people.
Okay.
Okay.
You too. Joshua Tree.
I agree with that. I think it can. I think if you're in a room, though, whether it's a 20,000-seat arena or whatever it is, he is powerful. They are powerful. I watch concerts of theirs on TV and am moved. And I share your opinion. I think it is a little like, okay, you're a singer. Calm down, will you? But he reaches me.
Well, and the other thing, too, The Edge really was the innovator and the master of the looping thing that's so popular today that you see guys like Ed Sheeran doing where, they're recording parts and playing them live, in real time. The Edge was the first guy to really do that. I mean, you hear a song like what's going on right now, you hear them do this live, he's got all those loops stored. He's playing all these parts live, which is pretty incredible.
It sounds hard, yeah.
It is hard. You have to get everything.
I believe you.
To synchronize everything is almost impossible.
You too. Jeremy, you're next.
I am next. I was thinking compilations. You just went Public Enemy. I was considering NWA. They're in the news now, obviously, with a movie that's out and the members of that. But I like the members more than I actually like the band. So I'm not going to go that way. I'm going to go Faces because it's another compilation kind of thing, and I want Rod Stewart because I love hearing his voice back in the day. So I'm going for that because I like it.
Great, that's a great pick, and I loved him when they had Steve Marriott, who is another amazing singer. That goes back to my generation, by the way.
What?
You just took the Faces?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're partially to blame.
Yeah, well, okay.
It is a the, so Bulldog probably wanted it.
They are...
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
The riffs, the voice.
They toured with a bar on stage. It's the sloppiest, best. It is, to me, this right here is distilled, pure moonshine whiskey rock and roll. Like, it is, with him singing, it's the best.
And he could have taken Simon and Garfunkel, but he took this.
Man, love the Faces.
The Faces at pick 24. Dick.
Wow. 24, too.
Do I get two?
You get two.
All
Take them both if you want, or one and then wait.
All right, it's up to you, whatever the timing allows.
Do what you think is right.
All right, well, I'm going to do real quick. I'm going to stick in a similar vein, but then my next pick is going to be totally the opposite. I got to go with a band that, like you were talking about differentiation in voices. I'm going to start with a band that was a radio rock band with one voice that you recognized, had a number of hits, and then 3 years later kind of changed the emphasis of their lead singer and became really funky and jazzy and had even more hits.
Bulldog, do you know what it is? It sounds a little bit like Bewitched to me, but that is not a band.
Well, it could be.
Do you know what it is?
You know what it is?
My guess is Bewitched.
Don't know.
It would be the Doobie Brothers.
All right, cool.
You think about the early stuff with Long Train Runnin', China Grove, Listen to the Music,
right.
And then their later stuff with Michael McDonald, What a Fool Believes, Taking It to the Street. Two totally different sounds, but the same band. That's pretty incredible. I love that band.
And this team, Dick's team with Don Tomasula, continuing to perfectly draw up a 1979 playlist.
That's right. Yeah.
I'm changing that with my next pick.
Maybe even on WGR.
What I like about the pick is that it really is, like you said, it's two different bands. One of them, I think, is really excellent. And then, like, Michael McDonald should get run over by a train. That's kind of
You
where
don't
I'm
like
at.
him.
Not a big.
Well, he can't sing anymore. Although you might argue that he never could, but
I can. Whatever. It's just not my thing.
We're going to break here and come back and rip through one more pick each and then be done. The band draft, Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, Dick Bowerly you're hearing here, also Jeremy White. This is WGR. Last round here at the band draft. Jason Lonconfora writes that the Chargers will play in San Diego in 2016, but do have a deal to go to L.A.
Wow.
after that.
Every game's a funeral. Good. Wow, good
Hey,
going.
you know what would be really fun today? Let's go to a sporting event. people in San Diego might think to say. We'll get caught up on sports here at the top of the hour. 5 rounds into the band draft. Band draft, excuse me. We were hoping to get through 8. It won't happen. We're going to try for 6, and that's with all 5 of us going one more time, starting with Dick Bowerly in round 6.
All right, Mike, as you pointed out.
Hold on, your mic isn't on. Thanks, Ryan.
I should know that. There we go. As you have pointed out continuously, my draft list is totally not diverse whatsoever. So I'm going to change that right now and go in a totally different direction with this pick, Ryan.
Okay. This is, of course, Big Bad Voodoo Daddy.
Is this when he started talking about?
No. When he started talking, this is obviously GNR. When you started saying glam rock, they yada yada, and I was going to barf. I thought you were going Kiss.
Oh God, no, never,
So,
never.
Right. That's why I was going to not be happy about that. GNR, fantastic.
This band. I was going to go with AC/DC. Then I realized, wait a minute, these guys are like taking AC/DC and more than expanding upon it. And I just love the way Slash plays guitar. Again, I guess I'm partial to bands that have great guitar players. Slash is a great guitar player, and Axl Rose, as irritating as he is, this band kicks butt. They
Guns
totally
N' Roses
kick butt.
for Dick Bowerly. Jeremy.
So many decisions. I don't know. My list here includes I like the Foo Fighters an awful lot. I could just select them. I liked Survivor at one point. I want to go cheesy in the last pick. I might go Survivor. I have Wham written down.
Really?
Yeah, why not? You know.
Why the Starland Vocal Band written down? I'm telling
Let's
that
get some
to
pop
you.
in there. Wham, done.
Wow,
Wham happened.
that just happened. Wham happened.
Give me Wham.
My wife would
no
agree
Foo
with you.
Fighters. You're taking Wham.
I like the Foo Fighters just fine. I'm trying to make
You took me to see Foo Fighters. You're taking Wham.
Here we go, baby.
That's right. It's the last round.
hell
Give
happened to
me
you?
Wham or
Give me death.
no, I'm not gonna go that far.
Wake me up before you go
Wham.
in the band draft.
My wife's going to like this pick, Jeremy.
Good. Andrew Ridgely represented in the band draft.
Sure, skip
no
the good,
Dave Grohl.
Skip the good one.
You can take him.
Yes.
I like Dave Grohl. I like the Foo Fighters. I like the White Stripes. I like lots of things, but I'm just gonna.
Tempting as it is to not talk and just listen to this whole song, I will
Right?
go next.
See?
I thought this was a band draft.
I just won.
This is a band right here with big hits over and over. You know all of them. CCR, Creedence Clearwater Revival. Another band where everybody in here can just name like 10 of their songs in no time.
Yes.
Great songs. Plus, you had the lead singer sue himself at one point, John Fogerty. Fortunate Son here,
Well done.
CCR,
Well
pick
done.
6.
Well done.
Good play. Good play.
All right, I have to take with my final pick a band that I think without whom a lot of what changed my tastes in music may have never happened, because it's late 60s, early 70s, and Iggy and the Stooges exploded with this. I mean, we're talking hippies and still peace signs and rainbows, and this is I'm a street walking cheetah with a heart full of napalm. This is punk rock, and it's 1973. Respect. Iggy and the Stooges.
I love what you know. Final pick of the band draft, Ryan.
Well, for my fans out there, I gotta pick this one. It's my personal favorite band. I think they're the greatest band in my personal opinion, which is always, very subjective, but it's Humphreys McGee for me, which most people don't even know.
No, that's a great band.
They come
I've
to
seen
town
them live a
all
lot.
the time, right?
Yes, you
Great
guys all
guitar
know
playing.
them. Great guitar playing, just a great overall sound, a full sound, and they bring it every single time. Tour about 200 or 150 dates a year, just always working.
Not picked, Aerosmith, Chicago, AC/DC, the Beach Boys.
Right.
I tweeted this. I just want to say it. I had fun with that last pick. If I really were picking and being true to myself, I would take the Killers. I like the Killers
Like
a
it.
lot.
Like
the
it.
Killers
Oh, they're a good band.
are rock and glam, and I like that and that Euro kind of feel. I love the Killers. I've seen them a bunch of times and consistently new albums. I love the Killers.
If you had taken the Killers, you would have reminded me to take New Order, who were like the Killers in 1980. Kind of. Like, I hear elements of New Order in lots of bands. That wave of music that the Killers were a part of is very much an homage to 80s synth rock stuff. And
I dig that stuff.
New Order is awesome, and I had them on my radar, and I just, we ran out of time. It's only 6 rounds instead of 8. So.
And if it's down to Killers and Foos for me, it's the Killers over the Foo Fighters.
Foo Fighters, New Order, The Cure, Depeche Mode, and, of course, KC and the Sunshine Band, all snubbed
Hall & Oates, too.
Band draft, and Hall & Oates.
Snubbed.
Dick, Jeremy, thank you
I've been
very
told
much for
Wham
coming in.
has made a mockery of the draft. Do you agree?
It's a tough thing to make a mockery of. Thank you for being here.
Guys, thanks for having me. It's great.
Really great.
Too much fun.
Our pleasure. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog back after sports here on WGR.